Hi, this is Steve Feldman for another edition of Floor Covering News's Retail Recovery Across America. Today we're in Cincinnati, Ohio at McSwain's Carpet and Flooring with Jason McSwain.
Hey, good to be with you.
How are you?
Good, doing well.
Good. We were talking before 50,
52. Yep.
52 years.
53, yep. Yeah, so
9 stores.
correct. Yep. It's a different time for retail for sure. So,
We've been talking to a bunch of retailers along this road show, and everybody's been telling me first 2.5 months of this year shaping up to be a pretty strong year. Same for you?
it was, and we looked at that as obviously what came next. You would like to avoid or avert or ignore, but that's just a blessing of we really had our best retail quarter, even if a week or two got closed with no installations, and so that just set us up to be able to be closed in our case for 7 weeks.
7 weeks. But we heard that you were doing pretty well while you were closed. How did you do business, in that scenario?
In Ohio, we were again just blessed that our years as a company have allowed diversification into builder, multifamily, and commercial, and so those were deemed essential in our state. So that allowed our core team, as well as cash flow, those key parts of the business to continue forward. And so that's been a key part that allowed retail to really take a pause. Those retail folks, we continued with every one of them. Didn't want to have layoffs because we knew that's what makes us unique when that would open up again.
Tell me what happened after 7 weeks. Doors opened, consumers start coming back. Slow.
No, we really worked at retail during that downtime to keep our team engaged, to push their training, which our vendors stepped out there fast with new content and good content, and so we were pushing those appointment only, and so creating the pipeline. We invested in our installers that weren't able to work. Some can transition over to builder or commercial, but if they were true retail and had no opportunity there, we wanted them to stay in the industry and be ready for the recovery. So those are steps we did just to get enabled when it opened up. We really hit the ground running.
Jason, what are you doing to get customers into the store today? Maybe something even different that you weren't doing a couple of months ago.
Yeah, the investing in those leads, which is got vendors. There's different social media aspects that we manage, because we have found our leads have gone up, just very surprising. The size of what we had last April compared to this April, now this May compared to April, it's changing our business to make that much more intentional on what we do with a lead and how we track it, how we close it, how we expect to close it, not just let's call and see where it goes. So and then reward that. We had a webinar the other day and just highlighted how are we making successes there and how can one peer teach the other, so that we're spreading that across all retail salespeople, and that's been successful at this stage.
Social media big for you?
It is, yeah.
What are you doing maybe a little bit different than, say, anybody else to get customers in the store via social media?
Just keeping it
Facebook, LinkedIn,
all those above. Yep. So multi-pronged. It is for our team that is responsible for that. That's their priority. They make that one that is working with local partners to figure out how is that changing. Working within NFA and some of our speakers we've had to share with our group the last month or so of how's that changing on a large scale with Google, how's it changing in small scales with specialty niches, and then we can take that into our group to say how do we leverage that.
You're president of the NFA. You have been for 2 years. Has NFA, or being an NFA member, helped you during this time?
Absolutely.
How?
Yeah, well, it shared earlier that really our strategy or our recommendation would be, not to go it alone, to really look at where you've invested, if that's in the HBA program, Home Builder Association, or your local Chamber of Commerce, your partnerships within the industry, and for us, it's the NFA. So immediately started with every topic that came up. Have that as a sounding board within very smart retailers across the country that some are just brilliant in finance, and so when those finance questions came up, using them as a sounding board. The use of training and technology, that part, and the vendors. I think our vendors, I was most supported by some core vendors that just regularly called, touching base, making sure, hey, how are you doing through this? How's your business doing through this? And how can their field team, which might not be on the road, but yet still is working for our success. And that was encouraging. It was reassuring that you're not really trying to go alone.
What did you do with your advertising during this time? Did you pull back? Did you continue to make yourself?
We used it in different ways. So we maintained, we didn't use it as a cost savings. We used it to find where we thought more customers might be at this time, and redirected it there. Also, we're prudent in some areas that, hey, that might have been branding. Save those dollars for when we had some sense of even when that opening up would happen. So it was very dynamic. Trust the team that manages that. I think we did well with that. So our challenge is in, are you ready when that customer comes in to the showroom?
I'm a retailer somewhere in this country, maybe in a rural area. Give me one piece of advice. What do I need to do to make sure that my business sustains itself over the next 6 months?
Be genuine and set expectations well. That's good for your customer. It's good for your associates. It's clearly good for your brand, and it's good for the industry. I think that is one that.
Any piece of advice? How do I'm going to get a customer in my store?
Well, I mean, actually, Sam Krent on the WFCA session, he shared setting those expectations on a hard surface job that might get interrupted because someone in the house or the installer gets sick. That's just smart that we hadn't thought of. And if we set expectations well, but we left that part out, so we've readjusted how we set those expectations in this type of environment that we're in, and that helps your brand well.
Talk to me about some of the smaller guys or the non-billion-dollar companies that have really been solid vendors for McSwain's over the last couple of years.
Oh, good. I think that's one of the benefits how the NFA is structured, is that vendor has the same opportunity, small or large, when they make that commitment to the NFA. So accessibility, time, sharing business plans. Dixie and Stainmaster really stepped fast into making a COVID-19 program for our sales team. The salespeople that are out there that are earning commission really had a pause, and so it's our responsibility as retailers to how do we help them through their own work, play some catch up. And so having a product that's a great product, broad, at a great price point allows us to run promotions that might have an incentive that allows them to earn at this time because they're pushing a product. Armstrong and the AHF group and Robbins, the brands that they're bringing to NFA, we did prior to COVID, and then even during the closure, iterated how those brands are going to market, and that's exciting. That's exciting for our sales team. It energizes them because they know they have a competitive position, but also a competitive spirit behind that brand that's really looking to compete.
Last question. Strong first 2.5 months. Then we had that 7-week lull, but you did do pretty well with some of the other divisions,
Mm-hmm.
aside from retail. What are you forecasting for the second half of the year?
The second half would be, I know our group is going to be up for the year. We have the desire to do that. We have the potential to do that, and so it's now a lot of work ahead of us to make that happen. But for us, our builder division was very much ahead of our plan, and don't see that significantly changing. So it's catch up time for retail, and that's it. It's a good amount of work, but it also makes you tired in a good way.
Jason, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I want to applaud you as president of NFA for going forward with the fall meeting in Savannah. That'll be the first industry event, probably in what will be 6 months. So it's great that you're taking the lead there.
Hey, we're looking forward to that time. So
It'll be nice to see the industry together again.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
This has been Floor Covering News, Retail Recovery Across America.